Good morning. It's 4:30 a.m., September 28th. Last night we finalized the winterizing process of our house, and today we start making our way back to the boat. It's about 3,000 kilometers from our home to the boat. We've got a few stops planned along the way. The SUV is packed to the brim, mostly with items for projects, but also with canned goods. It's become a tradition to can some of our favorite spaghetti sauce from Vito's so we can have a treat that brings us back home once a week. Our first day of driving was foggy, but all went well and the border crossing was a breeze. We just made it to the fender. It was 4:59 by the time we checked out. We just bought 290 feet of chain. Putting it in the SUV was a lot of work, but we got it done. Now we're on our way to Sally's to eat some pizza, and tomorrow we'll be heading to Annapolis. So if you're a fan of Barstool Sports or Dave Portnoy, you've definitely heard of his pizza reviews. Ever since he started his reviews, Mario and I have enjoyed watching his short clips on YouTube. So that brought us over to New Haven to try one of his top-rated pizzas. It was definitely worth the stop. Alright, so it is day 2 of driving. It is raining like crazy. We're going through New York in a couple minutes. The traffic is insane. But we gotta do what we gotta do. We're heading south. We're going to see the boat. So hopefully the traffic lets up and the rain lets up, and the rest of the drive this afternoon will be a little bit better. So little did we know we would end up stuck in traffic for a very long time. New York was being pelted with one of the worst rainstorms in a very long time, causing incredible flash flooding throughout the city and also major delays in traffic. Unfortunately, we didn't think to bust out the camera when we were going through some of the worst of the flooding. At some parts, there were cars completely submerged up to their windshield in water and people standing on top of their roofs just waiting to be rescued. New York City is finally behind us. It took us 5.5 hours to do approximately 100 kilometers. That's probably hands down the worst drive that we've done since we've been together. We've done a lot of driving, so we're now rolling at regular highway speeds on our way to Annapolis. Finally. We had the best weekend with our friends on board sailing vessel Gabbiano in Annapolis, and the drive over to Florida was really uneventful. Once we got to Florida, the Welcome Center was closed, so unfortunately we were not able to get our freshly squeezed orange juice. Mario decided it would be a great idea to grab a hotel in Orlando for the evening so that we wouldn't get to the boat in nighttime. That was probably one of his best ideas ever. The drive the next morning was full with anticipation of what was the boat going to look like. Was it going to be in good shape, rough shape? So here we are, getting to the boat for the first time after leaving it since April. Here's Cajun, and then Revival. We were so excited to see her. It's just one of those feelings you can't really describe. Alright, hi everybody. We are at the boat. And honestly, it's not as bad as I thought it was gonna be. We found Mario's speaker. Didn't like being in the heat or the boat stored all summer. Here it is. My wooden utensils took a little bit of a hit, but that's not too bad. When we got in, the bilge pump went off, so we did good by a small little $70 hookup with a tiny solar panel on the boom. There's a lot less mold than I expected so far. We're pretty satisfied. Pleasantly surprised. Feels good to be back. So when we left, I put all of our cushions, mattress toppers, clothes that was left over in these vacuum sealed dry bags. And all but one held. Looks good to me. Alright, so this is the first day of official boat work. We just drove from the boatyard to West Palm Beach, and luckily enough, it's only like a half an hour to 45 minutes drive to get to town. So this will make boat projects a lot easier. So we didn't find what we were looking for at the first stop, so here we are at the second store. See what we can find. Alrighty, so the travel lift just picked up our boat. We're going to the work yard where we're allowed to sand the bottom, do a little work on the rudder post, change the packing, and get her in tip-top shape for another cruising season in the Bahamas and the Caribbean. We knew that once Revival reached the workyard, we would have to get working on her pretty quickly because we were only there for a limited amount of time. We never thought working in a boatyard in Florida would be this hot, but it's okay, it is what it is. Mario's currently sanding or just buffing the hull a little bit. I don't think he noticed that I was filming, but that's okay, I'm gonna keep going. He's buffing the hull a little bit so we can reapply some bottom paint so that the barnacles won't stick as much this season. Currently painting 25-foot marks on our chain so that when I drop the anchor I can know exactly how much chain we put in to the water so we can anchor safely in whatever condition.
Not even going for Revival.
After a few days back at the boat, it became a nightly ritual to order more parts online. The first few times it felt like Christmas, but once we noticed that Santa was not taking care of the tab, we realized also that our cruising kitty was quickly dwindling. We ran out of paint before we could finish the bottom, so we gotta run to West Marine, which is a 35-minute drive away, for this much paint. I might have to get Mario for this one. I don't think I can do it on my own. Thanks so much for sticking around this long. If you wouldn't mind leaving a comment, a little like, a share, subscribe, you know how it works. What you just saw there was a fast forward of me splicing our chain to the end of a 3-strand nylon rope that we will be splicing again inside of our chain locker. We did this so that if in case of an emergency we ever need to ditch our anchor and our chain, then it's a lot easier to just let this run right to the very end and cut this part instead of the chain. Here's Mario installing our paddleboard rad. We're quite excited for this new upgrade to the boat. And also, just a little side note, our new anchor chain does not fit our windlass. So come back next week for a little update on that. Oh, and also, if you stuck with us this far, you get the privilege of knowing that both of our boats will be in the water next week too.